Hello and welcome. This is Kristen, Science and Engineering Librarian at Miami University Libraries. This video is about making population pyramids. There's a lot of choices for graph creation these days, but a lot of people already have Microsoft Excel on their computer and are probably somewhat familiar with using it already, so that's what we're going to use today. You might be saying, wait, Kristen, I've looked and there is no option for population pyramids in Excel. And yes, this is true, but we're not going to be deterred by that. It can be done with some adjustments to one of the presets, and that's what we're going to do together. As we've sort of just revealed, this is not as common a graph type as some others. So let's talk about what they are. Well, as the name implies, they show population, usually on the x-axis, and ages are on the y-axis. We can see that in both examples here. For both graphs, we have males on one side and females on the other. These graphs are often used for human populations, but they can also be used for animals. So we can see these in fields like sociology, ecology. Our example was on education. We might see some in the health sciences, or even economics would have use for them as well. One more thing before we dive into Excel. We said there's not a preset option for population pyramids. Let's just take a second to think about another chart that kind of looks like this one. Bar charts. We've all seen these. Looking at them side by side with population pyramids, I mean, they're pretty similar, right? They have completely different information, but structurally we have categories and numbers for things in that categories. Bar charts help with this. So let's plan on using that as our starting point. Okay, here we are in Excel, and here is our data. It's very small and manageable just for the sake of the demo. This is completely made up data for a Sunday school program who has classes set up by age groups. I have the names of these groups there for clarity, but they won't be in our graph. Then we have the age ranges for the groups and the number of boys and girls in each. We're going to use the raw numbers in our example, but if you want to, before starting, you can convert them into percentages and use those numbers. It's your project, so it's your choice on how you want to do that. The next step is a little weird, but we need to do this because we need to convince Excel to make what we want. We saw that we sort of have double bar charts that are kind of mirrors of each other, and what we need to do is to change either the males or the females into negative numbers. So I suggest that we copy over our raw data to make the changes and rename this as adjusted data. Okay, I've just done that while the recording was paused, so you don't have to watch me do all of that. The next thing that we need to do is change the boys over to negative numbers. And this list is so small I could just do that, but your list is probably a lot longer than that. So let's use some math to do that. The easiest way to convert a number into a negative number is just to multiply it by -1. So we will go here to the first one, and we will just change it up here in the formula bar to equal this cell up above in the raw data and multiply it by -1. And then we will carry that down the list with this little square. Okay, so that's all done. That was very easy, just simple multiplication. Let's highlight each of our counts for the group to make the chart. We don't want to include the headers right now. We'll just use this. Okay, so we come up to Insert, and under Bar or Column Chart, we choose the 2D stacked bar chart. Okay, beautiful, right? There's our population pyramid. It looks just like it should. So you can play with this to your heart's content as far as the styling, which we're not going to do in this video, but let's change a couple of things together, because the x-axis, for one thing, shows the ages as negative. And we did have to do that on purpose to get it to do this, but we don't want it to display like that. That would confuse anybody who's trying to read it, right? So let's select that axis. We will right-click on it and say Format Axis. And then all the way down here at the bottom is a header called number. Okay, so once we have that number expanded, then under the format code, you need to type the following: 0, brackets, black, end bracket, and 0. This tells it that we don't want negative numbers and we don't want decimal points. But if you do need decimals for your project, you can use this other code instead, which is 0.0, semicolon, brackets, black, end bracket, 0.0. And let's click Add to make this take effect. Okay, we are making progress. Let's also move the numbers. They're very hard to see on my screen. Maybe you can see it better on yours, but there's numbers inside these blue columns here. Let's click on these. This is our y-axis, and we want to format this also. And we already have the formatting window open at the side. And we want to look at the labels. Let's expand that. And under label position, we want to change this so it says low. And now they're over at the side, which is where we want them. So that's better. We're not quite done yet though. Let's change series 1 and 2, which it says down there in the key. Let's click on those, and instead of the format legend pane that's open at the side, we're actually going to click on this filter button right here. Then you can hover over Series 1 or Series 2, and this little box over here at the side lets you edit them. So let's do that for Series 1. And then this box here is asking for the cell name where that series number 1 lives. And we made the boys negative, that's why they're over here on the left. So let's click boys, this cell here, and click OK. Let's do the same thing for Series 2, which is the girls in orange. It's already highlighted. Let's click on the filter button, click over here under Series 2, edit series, and then we'll click over here where it says girls, click OK. Okay, this is looking way better. Just one or two more things before we wrap up this video. The x-axis doesn't have our age groups, these ones over here. Let's change that so that it has the age ranges. So now that we have that selected, we're going to use this little filter or funnel button right here again. What we want to change is the categories. And what we're going to do that is this thing down here at the bottom. It says select data. Okay, so it's the horizontal or category access label that we want to edit. Let's click that edit button here. And then the access label range is what it's asking for. And those are our ages, which are right here in column B. Voila. Let's click OK. I think you have to click OK again. Yes. That's mostly it. Let's just update the chart title. And then I think, folks, we are all done. Yes. Okay. So we've renamed the title of the chart to Sunday School Classes. Shows the number of boys and girls in each of the different age ranges, which we have over to the side. And then we can see how many kids are in each of the classes. All right, let's wrap up this video. We successfully made at least a first draft of a population pyramid in Excel, and we didn't even use a preset template. That's pretty cool, I think. Hopefully this was helpful for you and your project. Different versions of the software might mean that some of the features I showed are in different menus or places, and you might see other features that weren't on my screen, but hopefully it's not too much. Please reach out to the library if you have questions, and thanks again for watching.